Is this man being haunted by an enemy? So let's see what questions we have only on Paranormal, True or False. It is free to subscribe. Please subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Thank you. Did a shadow person open this door? So a person is laying in bed, and the closet door in front of them starts to open, and they pan the camera to the right instead of staying on that closet door. And now we see it's fully open, and it looks like just behind that door jamb, there's a shadow person. So with zooming in, we can see a little bit more clearly a shadow person is standing there and moves away. So I guess if I was startled, I probably would, point the camera away so that I could see with my naked eyes. But then you bring the camera back, and that just makes it feel like kind of a stage or setup situation. So we know with most closets there is a space that's right there on the right hand side that could be someone just hiding there. So there's enough room between that window and that door frame to actually hide a human being. So this could be legit and real, but it's just way too easy to recreate, and because of that, I'm just skeptical. Is this basement haunted? In this basement, we will see multiple objects being moved. We will start in the upper right-hand corner. A cabinet door will just suddenly open. Then on a different day, there will be a small black object sitting on the table, and it will suddenly slide off the table. It appears to slide before it falls. On the left side in the middle, there's a microwave, and the door keeps opening and closing multiple times. When it closes, it doesn't look like it's closing completely, which means that it can easily be reopened. Before we get into the final clip, it is possible all three of these clips are paranormal. And it's just as possible that it is a strain. The first three clips did not happen on the same day. They happened over a span of a month. This footage is old, probably more than a decade old, and it's grainy. I don't understand why nothing in this room is not in focus. The camera's stationary, so why is it not in focus? So it seems to me like it is purposefully grainy. So most likely the first three are staged. I don't know exactly how to describe this last clip. The initial shadow that was closest to us before it goes up to the wall is the most interesting to me. Somehow it crosses the floor towards us before it goes up around the wall and ceiling, away from us. It even blocks out the reflective lights on the television and furniture. So I want to see if I can take this image here, run it through the room to create a similar effect. So I decided to experiment with two different images, my little blotched oval there, and then the skull. So all I did with the oval is just do a left to right animation, and the animation itself will cause it to phase out. Then I made multiple changes with the skull to get it to be darker, a little bit transparent but not much, and the animation. So the first step on the skull was to reduce its brightness. Initially I increased the opacity too much and made it too see-through, so I had to reduce that opacity before adding the animation. So do we have a practical effect in which someone is walking off camera in front of a light source, which is creating the shadow effect, Or is this some type of a CG thing with an editing trick combined? I'm not that good at any type of computer graphics or visual effects. I can do some editing tricks, and I showed you the extent of my skill in this video. But regardless of if I can recreate it, I do have confidence that there are video effects artists that can recreate that. I just don't know if that's what was done or if this is paranormal. What do you think on this one? Leave me a comment below. What's causing these keys to rattle? The camera is pointing at some keys that are hanging next to this door. Then it will show a Ouija board before it goes back to looking at the keys hanging by the door. And then suddenly, these keys start to move, ever so slightly. But what's causing them to move? Is it a ghost? Did they contact something with the Ouija board? Or are they using a string to gently move those keys? This one is so subtle that I can see how it could be paranormal. But at the same time, I could see how I could rig a string and recreate the exact same effect. What is this shadowy figure? In the lower right, we will see something cross in front of the camera. I can't tell exactly where we're at and what type of room or space we're looking at. I don't know if we're looking at a table, a floor. I'm not sure what we're looking at. The footage is a little too dark and too grainy. I think this is just an atypical bug walking very quickly across the camera lens. I don't think there's anything physically in the room impacting that space. I think it's just on the lens. I wish the footage was better. Is this man haunted by a ghost or stalked by a person? We saw a similar clip between these two in our last video. This apparently is a continuation of that on a different day, different time, different place, different location. Once again, we have the one guy on the ground sleeping, the other guy up on the roof stalking. I don't know if they're trying to make a horror movie, or if this is a studio making a horror movie. I'm not sure what's going on. I do appreciate how clear this footage is and how good this footage is. That tells me they have a pretty good camera for night vision purposes. He keeps looking for noises. So now we move on to the next clip, and he's on this lower roof, and apparently he's dropping things down onto the guy. So this creature on this smaller roof goes from being transparent to solid. And it drops this wrapping around this guy's shoulders. And the guy collapses. If you get hit on the back of your head and neck, you should face plant with your head facing us. But see how he very carefully puts his hands down and then he lays down on his back? So we now know that whatever was wrapped inside that blanket was probably straw, and that whole thing probably only weighed about 2 pounds. And that reinforces our belief that it is staged. And as far as the guy being invisible, I think that's just editing tricks. Is this an alien abduction? So we have a dog, some snow, and some woods, and the dog does what dogs do, take off running and start sniffing around. But then something behind him gets his attention, and he starts really running down this road. When the camera operator catches up, we see an adult in an orange jacket and a child in a red jacket levitating. Though the child is in the air and reaching towards the ground, the mother was not reaching up. Then the adult and the child take off running. Does the child have some type of special gift? Does the mother have some type of special gift that enables her to levitate her child away from danger? Is this an alien abduction? Or did you see what I just saw, where the camera operator moves the camera away from the scene, and when the scene is brought back, the child is on the ground and the parent is running with the child. So the camera is moving too much for me to zoom in any closer than this. But right here is the part I don't get. You have that phenomenal scene and you suddenly point the camera at the ground. Most likely the child is on some type of a rope or a cable, and this is all staged. What caused this dog to disappear? So as this dog is walking down the street, we know something is wrong with its back left leg because of the way he's moving it when he walks. But all of a sudden, it's like something bit him in that leg, and it caused him to pop up and jump around to see what was there. And then at the same time, he disappears. It's possible that he has an open wound on that back leg, and one of those biting flies just bit it, and that's why we can't see what happened. And on top of that, we have a camera that glitched out at the same time. So that's what caused the dog to disappear. Is this the face of a spirit? This is actually an urban area, park, or neighborhood that has a lot of woods. So all the lights that you will see have nothing to do with the paranormal. That's just the neighborhood or the urban area that he's in, or suburban area. So this is not a true forest or woods. And this is not an alien abduction thing. But he's just wandering through these woods, just recording. And when he gets back home and he reviews the footage, he sees something very creepy right here. It looks like a face. Looks spiritual. Looks paranormal. But it's probably pareidolia due to the reflection of all these lights on the leaves. Is a poltergeist pulling a prank? As this man is sitting and looking at potentially a computer monitor, something on the bed behind him moves, and then suddenly the cabinets fly open. Is this caused by an angry spirit? Does he have an enemy trying to get his attention? And what did he turn around and see that caused him to run? Could it be a poltergeist? A loved one wanting his attention? See, I'm not sure if he's being pranked or if he's in on the prank and this is all staged. Did they capture a ghost girl? Flour has been placed on the floor to see if they can capture any ghost footsteps. And it appears that they did. I really like this one, and I really want this one to be real. But I'm not totally convinced it is, but I'm not convinced it's not. It's like when you slow it down and you look at how these footprints are created, they're not being created normally. but it could also be because I've slowed it down. If it's not real, how did they do it? So did they turn off the camera, put a step down, turn the camera back on, turn the camera off again, put steps down? Like, is that how they did it, or is this more video graphics, computer graphics, video effects? Let me know in the comments below what you think. Is this door possessed? Suddenly, the bedroom door will open while the cat on the bed is watching. What's important to notice is that the cat on the bed is not looking at the door, but is looking at the floor by the door. Is there someone laying on the floor outside of the room there, and they just simply push the door open? And that's what the cat is seeing, is someone laying on the floor in that hallway or outside of this room. I've had a couple of clips that I've had to analyze with cats, and I'm here to tell you, if you're a cat owner and you're wanting to fake paranormal, put your cats in a room that's not going to interfere with what you're trying to create, because cats' curiosity, their natural curiosity, and their directional ears will out you every time as staging whatever you're trying to do. The more interesting thing to me on this one was how the light that is shining into that room was distorting the door. I think it's just the glare of the light that's interfering with the camera, but it's still more intriguing than the door opening. Did they capture a ghost girl in this basement? So we're going into a basement of an occupied residence. So this basement apparently contains a bunch of cameras, bunch of tripods, and some type of furniture that's covered with a white sheet. Now that white sheet changes later in this video, but you can see how it's oriented right now. They're moving slowly because they heard a noise and they're not sure what they're going to find. But on the right, a door suddenly slams shut. We're going to repeat this because we can see something is standing right there on the inside of that room. They are not much taller than the doorknob. Okay, the light switch was off in the room, so I'm not sure when the light switch turns on. But when he gets this door open, the light switch is on, or the light is on. So, but at least he immediately goes to the room to try and find whatever closed the door so abruptly. He takes the time to open up the door. We get a full, basically, view of this entire space. However, what we don't get is the ceiling. Could you have dangled something in that doorway so that it would look real, especially when the light was off? And that's why we're not getting a view of the ceiling. She's back, but now she's in this room. Now it looks like he was about to leave when he hears something and he realizes that furniture has changed, but the girl is gone. The girl was standing right there, but not anymore. So the top right is the original view of this sheet-covered furniture. Bottom left is the final view we have. The change in the draping on the bottom right of that piece of furniture, as well as the top left of that piece of furniture, does look like it's been changed. He's so caught up in this furniture and the change in this furniture that he never even noticed the girl. He walks us around this furniture, but we still can't see much on that backside because of how dark it is. Well, I definitely appreciate him showing us around that space. So the top left is from when we come back out of that room and we're about to wrap up and go back upstairs. The bottom one is when we first come into this space and we start to go to the room on the right. Doesn't it look like she's hanging? There are several things in this one frame that stands out to me. This is after we come out of that room that had all that stuff in it. The furniture sheet is still like it originally was, and the girl is on the other side of the room. So this guy has all these tripods, all this camera equipment. Is he just creating paranormal? Like, is there someone else there? The girl that we saw in the doorway would be hanging from the ceiling. And there's somebody on the right or the left hand side that's down low. They sneak out with the hanging girl. They go put the hanging girl on the other side of the room. And so while he's taking time in here, that other person is getting that ghost girl hanging. Then after he's made us dizzy by spinning in circles, we now are going to go back out into that other space, and the hanging girl is going to be there, but the sheet is not changed yet. So he turns away and looks towards the left with the camera, only to turn back quickly and the sheet is changed. So both the hanging girl, and the person that's helping is most likely hiding behind that furniture, or unless there's a door or a cabinet in that corner somewhere, we still can't see what's going on here. Or rather, it's lighted in such a way that we can't see behind here. But that's also, I think, the key right there, is that it is lighted in such a way. A couple of these tripods do have lights on them. This is another one that I want it to be real, but I think in this case it's been staged. If you agree or disagree with my analysis, please leave a comment below. You will find links to social media platforms for this channel as well as for Jim Riley in the description below. Be safe and don't investigate alone. If you appreciate this type of analytical analysis, please subscribe. And remember, question everything. Thanks for watching Paranormal, True or False.